Welcome, Locksmithing Innovations, the channel that's about tools, tips, and tricks for locksmiths to make their profession easier. The tools are tools that I designed. Tips are tips that I've come up with, and tricks that I've come up with over the past 48 years of locksmithing. Basically, the title of this video number 11, will be another tool off my bucket list, and I'll explain. I was asked about 2.5 years ago by a fellow technician if I could come up with a model, and I've mentioned it in other videos. And by the way, any of you that have watched and subscribed, thank you very much. If you're new to this channel, please check some of the other videos out. This is video number 11. And share the channel with other locksmiths, other people that are apprenticing or wanting to be locksmiths, whether they're going out on their own or they're masters that have been doing it for years. Please share this channel. Please comment too. I would love to see comments on how other people approach some of the subjects I have shot and produced videos on. If you guys have a better way of doing things, please share it with us. That would be great. Okay, so about 2-3 years ago, I loaned the Major H-23 hole alignment tool to a co-worker for relocating crossbores. I had actually shown this and mentioned this on another video, but the reason why this is coming back today is because I designed the model that he had requested. And that, now, I originally designed my own model about 5 years before Major ever brought it out on the market. I actually gave my prototype to Mark Miller and Clayton Miller at Lockmasters. They weren't interested in producing it, so it never went further. And I left General Locksmithing to be a technical specialist for electronic lock manufacturer for several years, so I didn't need my jig as much. So when I got back into General Locksmithing after doing that gig, I needed a tool. So by then Major was making them, and I bought a Major, and primarily mine was pretty well done the same way. So once your door has a mortise in it, you take out and you screw in, you take your old lock off, and let's say you're upgrading from 1.5 inches to a new 2 1/8. Now the trouble with this system that a lot of guys swear by, this is called the hole enlargement arbor, made by Starrett, or also marketed and carried by Lee Valley and called the Oops arbor. And basically what this is this just goes down your shaft of your hole saw like a 1/4 inch drill, and then you put your 1.5 inch or whatever hole size you need in the center arbor, thread it on, and then you're outside to bring up to your 2 1/8. The trouble with this is, though, and you can see there I've already used this without the tool in there, and the trouble with this is if this hole is inaccurate, which in this case I made sure I offset the height so you can see the center of that hole is too low from my 1-inch crossbore. Okay, if I follow that line there, I'm going to end up with a hole that's not going to be accurate and working. This was the whole point. This is following that hole, and as you can see, cutting the 2 1/8 with this is going to work fine. What happened when I first developed it, we were taking off builders and contractors hardware in North Toronto, very high-end housing, and all the holes we were coming across were messed up, and we had to put Hercules deadbolts on that require extremely accurate holes. And it was a challenge for us because the carpenters and the carpenters or installers just made messes behind these locks, and we had to correct them somehow. So that's why I developed that. So now the only difference with this, that part's major, this part's came from a tool and die maker that was friends with me at the time, worked for a big automotive manufacturing. These are ejector pins from big die presses in the automotive industry, and what they do is they eject the part after it's been pressed in the dies and molded in the dies, and they wear out from time to time, get blemishes on them that don't make them, they stick then and don't push out the part properly, so they have to put new ones in. So that's what makes my guide pin, and my guide pin goes through hole saws that have holes right through them. The old arbors used to have holes right through them, as opposed to the new arbors that are solid. And if that's the case, you just cut off the head and put it down just like a normal drill bit. Okay, so regular hole saw arbor, you can just cut off the head and stick that down because they are 1/4 inch in diameter. So this is the reason and the whole rationale about this system is if your hole is inaccurate, you can make it accurate. In this case, these work great, but only if your hole's accurate. If your hole's not accurate, you're not going to work this, because you see, I'd be way up there, way above my line. You see there? That's how far out. And the lock's not going to, high-end lock or a new electronic lock wouldn't fit in that kind of mount. So that's why this system won't work. Now, this system here though, boom, you go 1/2 the door, and then you go around, and I actually did that with the oops arbor just to show you the difference. You see, so basically if I was finished drilling this, which I'm not going to do, but if I was finished drilling this, you see the difference in that. That's accurate. That's where we want to be. Okay. Using the hole enlargement, or oops arbor as Lee Valley calls it, would make our install improper. You see. So that's the standard major H-23. So what I was requested to do by the technician that I loaned this tool, went out, he had to enlarge an 1.5 inch hole. I was requested to come up with a model that would work with drive-ins. So that's why this video will actually be called another tool off my bucket list. I started studying as a locksmith when I was 17 through a correspondence course. Needed my parents' signature. I got my first job when I was 18. I turned 65 in 4 months' time or so. So that's why I'm saying another tool off my bucket list, because this will allow me to fulfill that request of what he wanted is a drive-in model. So I took the original H-23, I made a spacer the same thickness as this plate, so now my holes are exactly from the face of this, 2 3/8, 2 3/4. Then I turned around and I flipped the plate so I had countersunk heads here, and made 2 pieces of angle iron. There's also a rare earth magnet in there. Okay, nice compact tool, fits in your toolbox. Boom, doesn't get damaged. I took 2 of these mini clamps, took the ends off of them. There's just little screws there. Ground one of the pins that holds these ends from coming off of both sides of the bar, so I could take the heads and then put it on a bar Now, I know there's several different methods of doing things, but this is a compact tool. Fits there, so you walk up to the door. It's got a drive-in. Boom. You install this in the door. Boom. I'm just laying it down for laying down's sake. Boom. Now, I made this angle iron deep enough. This is at 2 3/4 back set. If I gotta go to 2 3/8, I just gotta move, keep that pushed in like that. If I was working on a door, I would be easily pushing it in. And I just gotta move this back just a hair off the face, still keeping it in the angle iron, so it's still keeping it square from turning. And all you do is you push on it, and then you take your 2 3/8 and guide it in on the door. It worked perfect. Okay, I could actually put a spacer, little spacer in there too if I wanted to hold that in at 2 3/8. And the reason being is I got to get this clamp back a bit. Literally, I could cut the clamp and the rubber pad if I glued it on, and it wouldn't cause no difference. Like, I could leave it back here where it is right now, and I'll show you in a second with the 2 3/8. You can see here, well, I can't even get to the 2 3/8 on this. I'd have to nibble it out, but I'd cut a bit of that rubber pad off. But basically, I don't know too many people that use 2 3/8 back set anymore. I'm not a big fan of it. Now you can see that's how far off I misaligned it, but a good quality deadbolt would cover that. And the reason why is I wanted to show you some of the different ways of using this. And you'd go halfway in, just start your score. You start your score on both. Whoops. Now, I had already tried shooting this video once. Start your score halfway through on both ones. Now, I actually did this one because, yes, I have seen deadbolts installed like this. Sometimes my camera stops in the middle of the shoot, drives me nuts. But I've seen ones installed with just 3 holes. One for your tailpiece and the center part of your lock. And boom, your 2 screws go through. And this was using that same jig on this. Get it started, then finish it off when you pull the tool out. Drive-in method, done. Basically, now I'm going to show you another one I did with this. Okay, so there we go. I misaligned the back set. I put the back set of this 1.5-inch hole in between 2 3/8 and 2 3/4. This hole is aligned properly on this particular case. So there you go. There's what I ended up with. This is at 2 3/8 back set. This is at 2 3/4 back set. I wanted to show you so that this would also work with your 2 3/8 back set. Now, as you can see here, I'm just over that score line right there. So if I didn't move it back, and I'll make a little spacer bar, to be honest with you, I just thought of that right now, that will be held in there by the magnet. I've got a spare one of these bars, and I'll just cut a piece for a spacer bar that'll allow the clamp to move back further for 2 3/8. So that way I can drill 2 3/4, 2 3/8, making sure my faceplate here is being pressed right against the edge, and I'm getting an accurate hole. Okay. Now, the nice thing about this system is basically you can also use it to enlarge a hole. This particular hole size is 2 3/8, which we know most locks don't go at. But if I wanted to, and you can see I've got a rod in there right now with the head cut off, but if I wanted to put like a 3-inch on here, okay, I can also use the system. Now, I highly recommend with the 3-inch that you use the model that mortise is in. You take the time and mortise in the edge of the door. Okay, so this is now anybody who sees this, who knows anybody a major, please please let them get in contact with me, because I'd certainly like to see these produced so every locksmith could have one in his truck to use to do the job. So, Locksmithing Innovations, Jeff here, channel that's about tools, tips, and tricks. So another tool off my bucket list, works great. Please subscribe, please comment. I am very happy about my videos getting many views. The Honda video that started this all, I used the Honda jig last week on 2 saddlebags. Hard case saddlebags for a motorcycle, Honda High Security there again, motorcycle keys. And in the middle of pinning it up, the tool was worked great. I did 3 Hondas last week, 1 car and 2 hard case saddlebags. And one of the other techs asked me if I could answer the phone. Just put the thing down on the bench, come back after answering the phone. Nothing was scattered. There was all the pins in place, all the springs in place, ready to finish the job. That tool has cut down time in amazingly on doing the Hondas. Please comment, as I say, and please tell other locksmiths about this channel. The whole purpose of this is to share this knowledge. And you know, I'll be 65 in a few months. I started when I was 17, studying, that is, and by the time I was 18 I was working in the field for the largest company, apprenticing for Chubb, Moser and Taylor. I've designed lots of tools over the years. I just want other people to have access to the knowledge, so they either can design them or a manufacturer can pick them up and make them. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, please comment, hit the like button, and as I say, anybody who knows a tool manufacturer that's interested in manufacturing from this prototype, please let them know, because I don't manufacture tools, I just design them and have for years. I've also patented a lock that I invented, and so basically I want to share some of the knowledge. I will be turning 65 in a few months, and rather than it all this gray matter up in the top of my head getting lost and no one ever knowing about it, I'm just trying to share it out there to other people. Take care. Be safe, everyone. Thank God the shots are getting out there, the vaccines are getting out there, and the whole COVID thing for the last few years is becoming less of an issue. Thanks. Bye now.